husband's and father-in-law's family? Boaz says yes. He says, yes, I will, but I got to do some things. The next morning, he sends her off before everybody else gets up. Of course, he didn't want other people to see that she was there sleeping. Theologically, we think nothing else was going on, but he sends her off before it's dawn. He goes to the city town, to the fathers. The city fathers get together, and there's one other kinsman redeemer that should be buying Ruth back and Naomi back. But that other one says, I can't do it, I don't want to do it. So Boaz buys, redeems Naomi and Ruth. Totally amazing. Because you see, what is so amazing of this to me is, it's not this story, but this story is a picture of Jesus Christ. It is a picture, a prototype of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the one within our lives that buys our land back. What was one of the first slides that we do? We go into disobedience, and then we have issues within our life. We go from the disobedience to defeat and distress. We sell off who we are, and Jesus says, I want to redeem you. I want to buy you back. Jesus Christ is the one who says, I want to care for you. He's the one who says, I know that you've been sold into slave, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. None of us can get to heaven by ourselves. None of us can. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Yeah, PG, wait a minute. I am not a mass murderer like some of these other people. They're the bad ones. Wait a minute. What does Jesus say? When you say raka, when you say evil things against somebody else, you're liable for those words. You've sinned. When you look lustfully at somebody else, you have sinned. How many of us haven't maybe gossiped once in a while? How many of us maybe haven't lusted at somebody else or at their possessions that they have? Thou shalt not covet. We've sinned. Jesus comes and says, I want to redeem you. I am your kinsman redeemer. I will buy you back. I will bring you back. And the amazing thing with this is, Ruth and Boaz get married. What is the church? What are Christians called? The bride of Christ. Hope you're all following me with this. It's just amazing how the story of Ruth is a story of the prototype of what Jesus does with you and I. Of redeeming us, buying us back, bringing us into our life. And the love and the loyalty that we're called to offer Him, the Lord gives us security and significance. Security and significance within our lives. You can go to the next one, Kristen. Okay, hopefully this slide won't totally confuse all of you, but I'm hoping that it will give you a little bit of education and just a little view of what's going on here. We have 1,000 years, a little bit more than 1,000-year separation. I think it'd be awesome if I actually knew who some of my ancestors were 1,000 years ago. Jewish people kept track. Pretty amazing. What we have is, I already explained the whole issue of Lot and his daughter. They had the son, Moab. That was around 2065 BC. Judah. Judah is one of the 12 sons of Jacob. Judah is one of the 12 sons. Judah had a daughter-in-law, Tamar. Judah's first son, who was married to Tamar, one of his first son, I believe it was, died. Second son with Tamar, married Tamar, decided he didn't want to be the kinsman redeemer. I'll let you read it in the Bible. There's some graphic things it talks about. And God puts him to death. Then Judah says to his son-in-law, you know, I'm going to wait. You wait for the next one to grow up, and then I'll give you him as your kinsman redeemer. He doesn't want to do it. Tamar tricks her father-in-law into thinking that she is a religious prostitution. She becomes pregnant with Judah, again, just like these two in some respects, and has a son. Perez. Perez is in the family line of Rahab, and I didn't put up there, but it's Salmon. S-A-L-M-O-N is his name. And they're all in the line of Judah. Son Perez. Rahab marries this individual, Salmon. Rahab, if you remember, is the prostitute in Jericho when the Jewish people come into Jericho and they walk around it all the times and it all falls down. Rahab is the one that helps save the Jewish people. Rahab is not a Jew herself, but she comes into the Jewish line, into the line of Judah, which goes down to Rahab. About 6 generations later, Boaz is born as a whatever, you can figure that out. For grandson, Boaz is a grandson of Rahab. Boaz and Ruth get married. They have a child who has another son, who has another son, who has the son Jesse, who then is the father of King David. Isn't it amazing? I think it's just totally amazing how you look at this line and you see how God called, up here we could say Abraham. God calls Abraham. He has these sons, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Jacob has 12 sons, one named Judah. Judah has issues in his life and doing things not right with daughter-in-law and whatnot. It moves on down. Rahab, prostitute, gets involved. Ruth, the Moabitess, gets involved. Great-grandmother of King David, all in the line of Judah. I know I'm talking fast, and hopefully you guys are catching this. Who comes in the line of Judah 1,000 years later? Jesus. And what is Jesus? He is our kinsman redeemer. If you don't get excited about this stuff, I don't know what's going to get you excited. This, to me, is just, it's totally amazing how God has worked it out to be our kinsman redeemer. So some little simple lessons from Ruth. Simple lessons. Through calamities or prosperity, God is always at work in our life. Through calamities or prosperity. And I can attest to the fact sometimes I see God at work more in my life through the calamities. Because you see, sometimes when we have the prosperity, it tends to fill us up with the junk food. Everything's going well. And so we don't have any appetite for His Word or for God Himself. First simple lesson here with Ruth. Through the prosperity or calamities, God is always at work in your life. Second little faith lesson. Change is inevitable. Naomi moves to Moab with her husband and 2 sons. She comes back with a daughter-in-law, no men. Change is inevitable. But it's what do we do with that change? How do we grow with that change? How do we allow that change to draw us into a closer relationship with Jesus Christ? Loyalty and love counts. If Ruth would have been like her other sister-in-law and went back to the land of Moab, she would not have been in the line of Jesus, the Messiah. But her loyalty and love drew her to follow her mother-in-law. And God used that to put her in the line of the true kinsman redeemer. And security and significance. We look for security and significance in our own wisdom. We look for it within our own financial 401ks, our own checkbooks, checking accounts. We look for it within our own abilities. We look for it within our own families. The reality is, significance and security is only found in Jesus Christ, the one who is our kinsman redeemer. If you've never read the book of Ruth, if you've never taken the time, I encourage you today, go home, open it up. Don't just read through it once, read through it 4 or 5 times. Get a flavor for what's going on, and with an understanding today that Boaz, the prototype of Jesus Christ. And where is Jesus Christ calling you in your life to give your love and loyalty to Him? How are you finding your security and your significance? Man, I love being a Vanhuculum. I love the fact of who I'm from. But my significance is more than I'm a child of God. I'm His child, His son. Where is your security and significance based?